All right, y'all. We are live. Let me know if you can hear me. Let me know if you can hear me. We are live. Let's see how President Trump came. Let's see. All right, let me know if y'all can hear me. Salute to everybody that's up in here, man. Let's go. Let me know in the chat if y'all can hear me. Please let me know. Let me go. Salute, Swagger. I see you in here. Salute, Mia. Okay, everybody say they can hear me. All right. Right now, we are waiting on President Trump. Let me pull up this other tab.
You can find me at Nick Stanz, Nikstanz, on Truth and on Instagram, and we will post the photos.
And I'm at Paul Ingrassia, and I'll post those photos on X and Twitter at Paul Ingrassia, as well as Truth Social, my favorite, at Paul Ingrassia. We don't have connection.
Now, while we're waiting on President Trump, I want y'all to listen to this right here. This was just a few hours before Donald Trump left. Y'all check this out, man. This right here was just crazy.
So let's bring out the former president of the United States, the Republican nominee for president, former President Donald Trump. Mr. President, we so appreciate you giving us an hour of your time.
Salute, Pamela.
I want to start
Salute to
by
everybody. Please hit the like button as you're coming in. Salute to you, Fano fans.
Think it was appropriate for you to be here today. You have pushed false claims about some of your rivals, from Nikki Haley to former President Barack Obama, saying that they were not born in the United States, which is not true. You have told 4 congresswomen of color who were American citizens to go back to where they came from. You have used words like animal and rabbit to describe Black district attorneys. You've attacked Black journalists, calling them a loser.
Y'all see what she's doing? Y'all see exactly what she's doing? Here she go already. As soon as Donald Trump come out, she's already with the BS. Like, come on, man. You got to be kidding me. Like, this right here is just crazy.
Well, first of all, I don't think I've ever been asked a question so in such a horrible manner. First question. You don't even say, hello, how are you? Are you with ABC? Because I think they're a fake news network, a terrible network. And I think it's disgraceful that I came here in good spirit. I love the Black population of this country. I've done so much for the Black population of this country, including employment, including opportunity zones with Senator Tim Scott of South Carolina, which is one of the greatest programs ever for Black workers and Black entrepreneurs. I've done so much, and and I say this, historically Black colleges and universities were out of money. They were stone cold broke, and I saved them, and I gave them long-term financing, and nobody else was doing it. I think it's a very rude introduction. I don't know exactly why you would do something like that. And let me go a step further. I was invited here, and I was told my opponent, whether it was Biden or Kamala, I was told my opponent was going to be here. It turned out my opponent isn't here. You invited me under false pretense. And then you said, you can't do it with Zoom. Well, where's Zoom? She's going to do it with Zoom, and she's not coming. And then you were half an hour late. Just so we understand, I have too much respect for you to be late. They couldn't get their equipment working or something was wrong.
Mr. President, I would love
if you can answer the question on your rhetoric and why you believe that Black voters can trust you with another 4 years. I have been the best president for the Black population since Abraham Lincoln. That's my answer.
Better than President Johnson, who signed the Voting Rights Act?
For you to start off the question and answer period, especially when you're 35 minutes late because you couldn't get your equipment to work in such a hostile manner, I think it's a disgrace.
Let me just ask a follow-up, sir, and then we'll move on to other questions here. Some of your own supporters, including Republicans on Capitol Hill, have labeled Vice President Kamala Harris, who is the first Black and Asian American woman to serve as vice president and be on a major party ticket, as a DEI hire. Is that acceptable language to you? And will you tell those Republicans and those supporters to stop it?
How do you define DEI? Go ahead. How do you define
diversity, equity, and inclusion?
Okay, yeah, go ahead. Is that what your definition?
That is
Give me a
literally
definition
the words
then. Would you give me a definition
DEI.
of that? Give me a definition.
Sir, I'm asking you a question, a
you
very
have to
direct
define
question.
it. Define it for me if you
I
would.
just defined it, sir. Do you believe that Vice President Kamala Harris is only on the ticket because she is a black woman?
Well, I can say no. I think it's maybe a little bit different. So I've known her a long time indirectly, not directly very much. And she was always of Indian heritage, and she was only promoting Indian heritage. I didn't know she was black until a number of years ago when she happened to turn black, and now she wants to be known as black. So I don't know, is she Indian or is she black?
She has always
But you know
identified
what?
as a black woman.
I
She went to a
respect
historically
either
black
one.
college.
I respect either one, but she obviously doesn't, because she was Indian all the way, and then all of a sudden she made a turn and she became a black person.
Just to be clear, sir, do
And
you believe that
I think
she is
somebody should look into that too when you
They
ask,
panicking.
continue in a very hostile, nasty tone.
It's a direct question, sir. Do you believe that Vice President Kamala Harris is a DEI hire, as some
I
Republicans
really
have
don't know.
said?
I mean, I really don't know. Could be. There are some, and there are plenty. I know this lady right over there, Harris, is a fantastic person who just interviewed me at length. And we had a great interview, I think, and I heard you got very good ratings on that.
Well, you told me it was the longest one of your life, so we had a.
Wow. Now y'all see that right there? That right there was just wow. Didn't even say, hey, how you doing, President Trump? None of that. Just jumped straight in with the lies. I mean, come on. Now, like I said, salute to everybody that's here. Make sure you please hit that like button. Like I said, we are awaiting Trump in Pennsylvania. I just had to show y'all that clip first. I mean, come on, man. She just comes straight out just being disrespectful. Then they lied to him saying Kamala Harris was going to be there, and she didn't even show up. And Donald Trump was on time, and he still get disrespected. That right there is just uncalled for. That is uncalled for. But we are waiting to President Trump. They say he is getting ready to come out. Hopefully this one don't come out in an hour and he come out in a few minutes. They say he's supposed to come out in a few minutes. So I will leave this stream right here up. That way we can pay attention. Make sure we don't miss anything. But let's see what they're talking about real quick.
Immigrants who are coming and competing for their jobs and everything else that mess brought upon this country. So, obviously no American does better off with Kamala Harris in the presidency, whether you're white, whether you're brown, whether you're black, it doesn't matter who you are. This is an agenda. Kamala Harris, Joe Biden promoted an agenda that destroyed the American dream for everybody.
Oh no, he
And
might
President
not
Trump
be
is
late. He
working
might
so
come
hard
on up
to bring that back for all Americans.
I agree. And, I think right now we're listening to an ad where he says the only crime he's ever committed is to fearlessly defend our American voters from seeking what they seek to defend, right? And he's talking about how important it is to keep pushing forward. He says they want to take away my freedom,
everybody.
So let them take away our freedom, right? He's
And while we waiting on President Trump, let's do this right here. Salute to you, Manessa. Salute to you, Jimmy. Salute to everybody that's here. Let's go ahead and do this while we waiting on President Trump to come out. Let me see if I can find it.
Trump has left the building.
We can now project the winner of the presidential race. Donald Trump wins the presidency.
What started off as unlikely, impossible, is now reality.
I will fight for you with every breath in my body, and I will never, ever let you down.
We have a president who actually fulfilled the promises he made during the campaign, securing the border to foreign policy.
He now has a record as president that's pretty damn impressive.
Please welcome the 45th president.
We're going to make America great again. We're a failing nation right now. We're a seriously failing nation. And we're a failing nation because of him. His policies are so bad. He ended Remain in Mexico. He ended catch and release. I made it catch and release in Mexico, not catch and release here. And because of his ridiculous, insane, and very stupid policies, people are coming in and they're killing our citizens. Did you fire anybody? Did you fire anybody that's on the border that's allowed us to have the worst border in the history of the world? Did anybody get fired for allowing 18 million people, many from prisons, many from mental institutions? Did you fire anybody that allowed our country to be destroyed? Nobody's ever created an economy like us. Nobody ever cut taxes like us. He's the only one I know. He wants to raise your taxes by 4 times. He also said he inherited 9% inflation. No, he inherited almost no inflation, and it stayed that way for 14 months, and then it blew up under his leadership. China's going to own us if you keep allowing them to do what they're doing to us as a country. They are killing us as a country, Joe, and you can't let that happen. You're destroying our country. My retribution.
When I argued that we should freeze federal spending, I meant Social Security as well. And I not only tried it once, I tried it twice, I tried it a third time, and I tried it a fourth time. Raising the cap, raising the retirement age for people who are now 30 years old, raising the tax on Social Security, cutting benefits. They're all things that have to be discussed, quite frankly. The American people know we have to fix Social Security. They know we can't grow our way to a solution. They know we're going to have to make some tough decisions.
Would you consider looking at those programs, age of eligibility,
Absolutely.
cost of living, put it all on the table?
The answer is absolutely you have to. We are going to change the retirement age for Social Security.
We will always protect Social Security and Medicare for our great seniors. Biden can't do that. As president, I kept that promise, and I will keep it once again. I will not, under any circumstances, allow either of these two precious gems to be even touched under a Trump administration. You will always have your Social Security in full as you have it now, and you will always have your Medicare. Social Security will be strong and powerful. Medicare will be strong. You deserve it. I will always protect Medicare and Social Security for our great seniors.
I got my lies.
If you're having trouble sleeping, ask your doctor about Bidenica, the sleep aid made from 100% Joe Biden press conference.
The best way to get something done, if it holds near and dear to you that you like to be able to, anyway.
Bidenica has a patented blend of confusion and forgetfulness that will calm the most overactive brains.
COVID has taken this year, just since the outbreak, it's taken more than 100 years. Look, here's the lives. When you think about it.
When they sold out American jobs and killed the Keystone Pipeline, it kept me up all night worrying about how we'd pay our bills. But then I got Bidenica, and I've never slept better.
Sometimes when I get hopped up on sugar, my parents give me Bidenica so I pass out. Other times they give it to me during the day, probably so they can do the deed. Gross.
Warning. People who have used Bidenica have experienced rapid lying and an inability to secure the southern border. Others have hallucinated and fought breakfast cereals.
Corn Pop was a bad dude.
Ask your doctor if Bidenica is right for you.
All right, we are back. Like I said, we are waiting. Salute to LA Rams for becoming a member, and salute to the $30. Donald J. Trump is going to be the next president of the United States. Trump 2024, and go Rams. That's what I'm talking about. Salute to you, LA Rams. You already know what time it is. Football coming up. Salute for that 30, man. Salute to everybody showing support. Everybody always donate, showing the channel some love. I really, really appreciate that a lot. Salute to Michael Graham coming through with the $10. Thank you, brother. Appreciate you, Michael Graham. I really appreciate that. Salute to everybody that's here. Like I said, we are still awaiting President Trump in Pennsylvania. We are still waiting for him. You said, what time is Trump speaking? He's supposed to be out, now. Well, where I'm at is 5:20. He's supposed to be out at 5 o'clock, but it's kind of like all the time where if Trump gonna come out at 5, he don't come out to 6. Sometime it always be like that for some reason. So yeah, it ain't no telling. Hopefully, it's soon. But we see how he just destroyed this woman over here that's gonna, ask him them type of questions like that right there was just crazy. I mean, come straight out of the gate being very, very disrespectful. So let's see what they talking about.
Playlist best. We call it the new Great American Songbook because really, the Trump rally playlist is going to live on, I think, forever. I mean, this is so.
Okay, so we still waiting on them, and while we're waiting on them, we'll do this right here. Let me pull this right here up. Salute to everybody in the chat. Make sure you please hit the like button. Pat Blake said, "Go Lions." Hey man, you like who you like. You like who you like. But we'll.
This is the final battle. With you at my side, we will demolish the deep state. We will expel the warmongers from our government. We will drive out the globalists. We will cast out the communists, Marxists, and fascists. We will throw off the sick political class that hates our country. We will rout the fake news media, and we will liberate America from these villains once and for all.
Salute. Let me go down. Salute to you, William Bowen, for the $10. Say Trump 2024. Salute to you, William, man. You already know, man, we got to get President Trump back in the White House, man, because we already see what Kamala Harris is doing. Matter of fact, let's put it up, because Kamala Harris, all she doing is lying. Now she got female rappers coming to a rally, twerking and stuff. I mean, come on, man. Then she's lying, talking about she's black when she's on video, literally admitting that she's Indian. Matter of fact, let's pull that up. Like, I mean, all this lying just has to stop. Matter of fact, I believe Benny pulled it up on his page. Let me pull this up for y'all while we wait. See if I can pull this up. Let me see if I can pull this up real quick. I want y'all to look at this right here while we wait. Look at this right here. She literally admitting that she's Indian.
What we're gonna cook today, is an Indian recipe.
Yes,
because
yes.
you are Indian.
Yes.
Okay.
Listen
Okay, so
to-
what we're gonna cook today, is an Indian recipe.
Yes.
Because
Yes.
you are Indian.
Yes. Yes.
Okay, and I
Okay.
don't know that everybody knows that, but I find that wherever I go and I see Indian people at the supermarket, on the street, everyone's like, Kamala Harris is Indian, right? It's like our thing we're so excited about to have you running for president.
Yeah.
So we're both Indian,
Yes.
but actually we're both South Indian.
Yes. You look like the entire one half of my family.
Okay, thank you.
You do.
I've been telling people
You
we're
do.
related already,
Yeah.
so this is perfect. It's basically true. And so were you raised eating South Indian food?
South Indian food.
Okay, so what?
See, I'm talking about just sitting up there lying. I mean, just sitting up there lying for no reason. I mean, that right there is crazy. Lying to all the black people that she's black. Just sitting up here lying for no freaking reason. Just to gain votes. This is what we're dealing with. This is what we're dealing with, y'all. Sitting up here lying. So, like I said, we still waiting on President Trump to come out. Hopefully, with it's 5/24. So we just sit here having fun until then.
Come out to attend these rallies. We talk.
Okay, yeah, I think they still playing music and stuff. Salute to you, Rebecca. I'm good. Salute. Yeah, we always got to put prayers for Donald Trump in the comment section. We always got to do that. Yeah, and like you say, all she's gonna do is that dumb, crazy laugh all the time. She take nothing serious. All she's gonna do is just fake laugh. Now, instead of having a rally, she having female rappers twerking on stage, and you can see the people in front of the stage just look very like, what is going on here? I mean, come on. So now she's trying to pander her way back to the White House, back into the White House is what she's trying to do. And that right there is not going to work. That right there is not going to work because the American people see exactly what's going on. And matter of fact, Donald Trump dropped another ad on Kamala as well. He dropped another ad. So let's do this right here. Let's see. I'm gonna pull this other one up so y'all can see that one. Like I said, while we waiting. Okay. All right. Let's see.
Is the president for all Americans. And the whole movement, since the day he went down that escalator over 9 years ago now, has been America first, has been to put the interest of the American people as the priority, which hasn't been the case in a long, long time in this country's history. And he was the first one to stand up and actually do something
Yeah,
about
when
it.
he says, "I won't back down," he means it. He's proven it.
She said her mother is from India.
And we're very grateful that that God was watching over him that day in Butler. And this is his first rally back in Pennsylvania since that.
Yeah, she just sitting up there lying. She literally just sitting up there lying for no reason at all.
Between an attempted assassination, between naming his VP, between going to the RNC, between Biden dropping
No reason at all, just lying.
jumping in or being coordinated in, between all
Salute to you, Julia Jonas.
the terrible attack in
Make sure y'all hit that like button as y'all come in. Please hit that like button. President Trump should be out shortly.
We're seeing so many things generated in the news.
Let me check over here to see.
Chaotic, but keep your eye on the prize. Stay optimistic and get your vote out, and make sure that you do not find an excuse not to do that, because we have to make
Let me pull this up real quick.
country back on track.
We got to turn out the vote in big numbers. And listen, the left is basically waged a war on God, on everything that's good, beauty, traditional morality, the Bible. But this is a movement that is basically protected and watched.
And this is what we'll pull up for the time being while we wait.
Yes, it feels like years ago. It feels like 2.5 years ago.
Well, he might not. I mean, it depends. It depends on what happens. I'm talking about people that are much different cases than that. We need people to protect ourselves. And by the way, in Chicago, as an example, a few weeks ago, July 4th weekend, they had 117 shootings and 17 deaths. Nobody wants that.
Salute to you, Chanel. Salute. I really, really appreciate that.
Oh, can you get a little more specific back to the immunity question? Who would make those
Well, right now, for the most part, people are protected by their unions, by their police unions, or by their police departments. But I'm saying if I felt, or if a group of people would feel that somebody was being unfairly prosecuted because the person did a good job, maybe with crime, or made a mistake, an innocent mistake. There's a big difference between being a bad person and making an innocent mistake. But if somebody made an innocent mistake, I would want to help that person.
What would those exceptions be? What would determine
You
an
go
innocent
after
mistake?
somebody and it's a
LA Rams, I've been a Rams fan ever since 2000. That's how long I've been a Rams fan.
and sometimes very bad decisions are made. They're not made from an evil standpoint, but they're made from the standpoint of they made a mistake.
So I want to follow up really quickly. You know, I find it interesting because you do talk about reining in prosecutors, especially when it comes to prosecutors that are prosecuting you. Why doesn't that skepticism apply to law enforcement?
Well, I've been prosecuted because I'm a political opponent of two people
Thank
that
you,
have
LA Rams,
weaponized
for that
our
20.
justice
Thank you.
system. I've been
Thank you, Michael
prosecuted. I
Brown,
just
for the
won the
$10.
big case in Florida. Everyone said that was the biggest case. That was
Thank
the most
y'all.
difficult case. And I just won it. Now, Biden has a similar case, except much worse. I was protected under the Presidential Records Act. Biden wasn't, because he wasn't president at the time. and he had 50 years worth of documents, and they ruled that he was incompetent, and therefore he shouldn't stand trial. And I said, isn't that something? He's incompetent and he can't stand trial, and yet he can be president. Isn't that nice?
Mr. President,
but they released him on the basis that he was incompetent. They said he had no memory, and he was a nice old guy, but he had no memory, and therefore we're not going to prosecute him. I won the case, and it got very little publicity. I didn't notice ABC doing any publicity on it, George.
We cover you extensively, sir. I'd love to move over on to
I
different
didn't notice
topics
you
now.
do any publicity on it at all. I won the case, the biggest case. This is an attack on a political opponent. I have another one where I
Sir,
have
if you
a
don't mind, I'd
hostile
love to
judge.
we have you for a limited time, sir. I'd love to move on to different
No,
topics.
excuse
if
you.
we
You're the
can.
one that held me up for 35 minutes, just so you understand.
If we can move on now to the state of the race, sir, I want to get back to the campaign. Senator J.D. Vance is your running mate. He's had a lot of controversy lately, and I want to read you a few things that he has said in the past. He said the Democrats running the country are a bunch of childless cat ladies who are miserable at their own lives and the choices they've made. And so they want to make the rest of the country miserable too. He's not talking here about how great it is to be a parent. He's attacking what he says are the choices people are making to not have children. Did you know that he had these views about people who do not have children before you picked him to be your running mate? And do you agree with him?
No, I know this. He is very family oriented, and he thinks family is a great thing. That doesn't mean he thinks that if you don't have a family, it's not. I know people with families. I know people with great families. I know people with very troubled families. And I also know people with no families. They didn't meet the right person. Things happen. You go through life, you don't meet the right person.
But he's not just talking about families here. He also says that people that don't have children should get less votes than those that do.
I'm just speaking for myself.
Is that your campaign
I think
position?
I'm speaking for him too. He strongly believes in family, but I know people with great families. I know people with not great families that don't have a family. And the people without the family are far better. They're superior in many cases, okay? He's not saying they're not. What he's saying is that he thinks the family experience is a very important thing. It's a very good thing. But that doesn't mean that if you grow up and you grow older and you don't meet somebody that would be wonderful to meet and would have been good, that that's a bad thing. He's not saying that. My interpretation, you'll have to ask him actually, but my interpretation is he's strongly family oriented, but that doesn't mean if you don't have a family, there's something wrong with it.
Just one last point and then we'll move on. Just one of the bedrock principles of American life is one person, one vote. Senator J.D. Vance has suggested that someone who has children should have more votes than a person who does not have children. I just want to be clear here. Is that the position of your campaign?
Well, no, but it's not something I have ever heard before. I can tell you this. Right now you have illegal aliens coming into our country, many from prisons and many from mental institutions, and they want to give them votes. I don't think they should have votes. They came into our country illegally, and they're taking the vote away from all of the people in this room that have been here a long time, that have worked hard, that in many cases, and you'll see this happening, if I'm not elected, you're going to see it happening. If I am, you're not going to have any problem. But you're going to see it happening a long time. You're going to see the people in this room and people outside of this room are going to be losing their jobs to people that have come into this country illegally.
Mr. President, can we stay with just kind of the state of the race right now? Because I felt like that vice president question, candidate question was right in there with that. So let's talk about J.D. Vance for a little bit. He's had some stumbles out of the gate. I don't know if you're hearing what we hear as reporters, but it's been a tough couple of weeks for him. Why did you choose J.D. Vance?
Why
did you choose him? And I'm having a hard time hearing too.
I chose him
everybody out there can, but it's hard
I'll tell
to
you
hear.
why. I chose him because he's a very strong believer in work and the working man and woman, and especially the working man and woman who have been treated very unfairly, because you have many of them in this room. But you have many of those people, they were treated very unfairly. They worked very hard and they were treated unfairly. He wrote the book that became a bestseller. The movie became a smash hit. He's a very smart guy without the benefit of having a family that has contacts, like a father that was well connected. He got into Yale Law School. He graduated in 2 years from Ohio State, summa cum laude. I mean, you take a look at, his career has been an amazing career. He started off at a level with a a difficult family situation, very difficult with the mother and the father and everything else. He ends up going to Yale Law School and was one of the top students, became the head of the Law Journal. I mean, it's an amazing thing. He's a 4-year, he was in the military with great distinction for 4 years, got out, went into business, became successful in business, very successful in business, actually, did public offerings and other things. And I have to believe in that. I mean, he's somebody that was born in a rough situation. Most of the people know that situation because it was very well documented in his book. And I have a lot of respect for somebody that can get into Yale and become one of the best students in Yale, that meets a young woman at Yale who was also outstanding, and they get married, they have a beautiful family, but he had he's made himself an amazing life. He then goes to Ohio, lives in Ohio, and he had my endorsement. That helped. But he wins the Senate. He becomes a United States Senator. So he's a United States Senator. So and so Harris, like I respect.
Well, hold on. Somebody's getting carried out at the Trump rally. Y'all look at this.
Oh, they got a protester out of there.
There's a
I think there was a
getting carried out.
And the police,
excitement.
There was one person, one little girl, like one little lady.
She was like this tall.
She was like here.
It looks like an old lady.
She was
being anti, and so they escorted her out very swiftly, as they do. So we will be very grateful, of course, to all of our law enforcement for always keeping us safe and sound.
They just carried somebody out of the Trump rally. I was trying to find out what happened. They said it was some little girl. She was a protester. I don't get it. If you don't like Donald Trump, why go to the rally?
The blue, since the day he ran for president in 2016. Contrast with Kamala Harris, who's obviously wanting to defund the police. She was one of the loudest advocates on Capitol Hill, arguing to defund the police.
Wow.
Thank you for your success. I respect people for their success.
The reason I asked the question is because the last time you and I sat and talked was the day that you were shot. We'd been together for much of that day. You left to go to Butler, Pennsylvania, and we didn't know what was next.
Yeah.
And 2 days after that,
I cannot understand your microphone.
I know it is really hard for me to understand.
It's just I can understand you perfectly.
Because she's closer.
I can understand you.
Happy to hear that.
But I can't understand. Harris,
I have a few more questions.
Because of the distance, and the mics are really in lousy shape, but I cannot understand
are
you asking a question?
What you're saying.
So what I wanted to say was the last time we spoke, you said some words that were prophetic because I asked you who you wanted to choose for vice president.
Yeah.
And you said normally it really wouldn't matter what they would bring, you choose somebody that you think has a future, that sort of thing. But you said these words 3.5 hours before an attempted assassination on your life. You told me that bad things happen, Harris, and that's why this decision is important this time. Bad things happen. You said it twice. When you look at J.D. Vance, is he ready on day one?
Does he what?
Ready on day one, if he has to be.
I've always had great respect for him, and for the other candidates too. But I will say this, and I think this is well documented. Historically, the vice president, in terms of the election, does not have any impact. I mean, virtually no impact. You have 2 or 3 days where there's a lot of commotion as to who, like you're having it on the Democrat side, who it's going to be. And then that dies down, and it's all about the presidential pick. Virtually never has it mattered. Maybe Lyndon Johnson mattered for different reasons.
Thank you, Jim Carter, for the $20. Thank you.
Political reasons, other political reasons. But historically, the choice of a vice president makes no difference. You're voting for the president, and you can have a vice president who's outstanding in every way. And I think JD is. I think that all of them would have been. But you're not voting that way. You're voting for the president. You're voting for me. If you like me, I'm going to win. If you don't like me, I'm not going to win.
I'm going to get my J.D. Vance question in.
J.D. Vance?
I'm going to get my J.D. Vance question in. To your point and to Rachel's point, he, has a lot of opinions about childless women like myself or divorced people like yourself. Do you think, I mean, my point
but
is
Lisa
here.
was said in a friendly manner.
My point is, do you think the Republican Party is getting a little bit too judgy about people's lives when you think about abortion or when you think about what J.D. Vance is saying?
I don't think, look, I think that the Democrat Party is really the one that has the problem. I think they're radical on abortion because they're allowing abortion in the 9th month. They're allowing the
But I
death.
think it's
They're
about
allowing
freedom,
the death
right?
of a baby after the baby is born, based on
Sir,
the governor of Virginia. Based on the governor of Virginia, they're allowing the death of the baby after it's born. They're allowing abortions in the 8th and 9th month.
Well, Democrats have denied.
I think they're right. And I think the Republican Party is actually much less. I think I've made them much less radical, perhaps. But the Republican Party, what we're doing is bringing it back to the states where everybody wanted it. Democrats, Republicans, liberals, conservative, everybody wanted abortion brought back. They didn't want Roe v. Wade in the federal government. They wanted it, everybody.
But the
wanted
majority
it
of
back.
Americans oppose Roe v. Wade being overturned.
They
Multiple
don't know
polls have showed
about
that,
this.
sir.
Right now, they're voting. It brought it back to the states. Now, I happen to believe in the 3 exceptions. Ronald Reagan believed with rape, incest, life of the mother. I do. I think most people do. I think most Republicans do also. But if you take a look, right now they're doing, it's an amazing thing, out of the federal government, it's in states, and people are voting. And I will say, Ohio is, let's call it a more liberal version, has been approved. Kansas, the same thing, a little bit surprising to a lot of people. But the people are now voting, and it's taking this issue that's been going on for 52 years and has torn our country apart, and it's giving it to the people to vote on. And they're voting. And many states have already voted. Others are in the process of voting. And it's bringing it back to the people and a vote of the people. And it's not at all radical. And again, you have to follow your heart. I happen to believe in the 3 exceptions. Most people believe in the 3 exceptions. Most Republicans believe in the exceptions. But they don't want to see an abortion in the 9th month or the 8th month. Almost everybody agrees to that. And they certainly don't want to see, in the case of the governor of Virginia, the former governor, I might add, who said, we set the baby aside and then we decide what to do. Meaning, what do? We execute the baby. That's a radical, horrible position. And some people want that.
Thank you,
I
Jimmy.
don't want it.
Thank
Most
you,
people
Jimmy.
don't.
Thank you. Can I just pivot really quickly to another question?
Appreciate that, Jimmy.
About, you brought up health, Harris. You're an active man. We see you golfing all the time. But if you win, you'll still be president at 82, which is older than Biden is right now.
But not mentally. Look, mentally.
Here's the question.
He's shot. But most people, I know many people in their 80s and their 90s that are in great shape. Some of our greatest leaders. You look at throughout the world history, the greatest leaders, some of the greatest leaders in the world were in their 80s.
But here's the question. Would you consider stepping down if you felt that your health was declining? Or would you?
Oh, absolutely.
And who would
I think I'd know.
How would you make that decision?
I think I'd know. Look, if I came onto a stage like this and I got treated so rudely.
Y'all see what they're trying to do? Look at that. Trying to ask Donald Trump would he consider stepping down. I mean, come on, bro. What is this? Now they, just like Amy said, now they care about Donald Trump's age. Now they care about his age all of a sudden. Would you consider stepping down? I mean, come on. And then we see the woman in the blue. She's from ABC, I'm hearing. So you know that, they fake news and they don't like Donald Trump. So that's why soon as Donald Trump came out, she shook his hand and then disrespected him with her first, well, she didn't even really ask him a question. She just tried to make him look bad. Just started off lying. That's what ABC, CNN, that's what they do. They run with their fake narratives of or whatever they heard somebody else say. That is ridiculous. And then how can you ask the man a question and then turn around and cut him off? You ask him a question, then you just turn around and just cut him off in the middle of him trying to answer your question. That is wild. That right there is just wild.
Is this woman?
Oh my goodness.
And I'm fine with it because she was very rude, sir. Very rude. That wasn't a question. She didn't ask me a question. She gave a statement. That wasn't a question.
I repeated your statement, sir, actually.
You said you would. You would.
Oh,
make that
absolutely.
decision
If
to
I
step
thought
down.
that I was failing in some way, I want people to be sharp. I'll go a step further. I want anybody running for president to take an aptitude test, to take a cognitive test. I think it's a great idea. And I took 2 of them and I aced them.
Well,
I took 2 of them. But let me ask you.
Yeah.
I would like to have people running for president. And I don't mean because they're 75 or 85. I think anybody running, I'd like to do it. People say it's not constitutional. I would like to have something passed where you can do it. I think we should know. I mean, I've watched what's happened in the last couple of years under this gentleman, and our country is a mess. We have inflation. We have the millions of people falling in. We have Afghanistan, which was the worst, most embarrassing moment in the history of our country. What he has done to our country, and her too, what they've done to our country, she has been a horrible vice president. She's considered the worst vice president in the history of our country.
Don't mean to interrupt you, but would you consider taking the cognitive test?
Mr. President.
I would love to
and
do
make
it
it public.
Well, I've already taken 2 of them, but I'll do it again.
Mr. President, how do you intend to?
I suggested, Harris, that let's take one. I said, Joe and I will go and take a cognitive test. Now, I'd do it with her too. I would do it with her also. You know what? She failed her law exam. She didn't pass her law exam, so maybe she wouldn't pass the cognitive test.
Mr. President,
are you saying she wouldn't pass? Just to be clear,
I'm just giving you the facts.
To be clear, you don't think
I'm
Harris?
just
How do you
giving the
intend?
facts. She
And
didn't
look,
pass her bar exam, and she didn't think she would pass it, and she didn't think she was going to ever pass it. And I don't know what happened. Maybe she passed it.
She did pass it.
There's a man over here. I think he must work for
Mr.
her.
President, I would love to ask you about January 6th. You've called yourself the candidate of law and order. When Time Magazine asked you if you would consider pardoning all the rioters, you said, yes, absolutely.
Sure.
You called them patriots. 140 police officers were assaulted that day. Their injuries included broken bones. At least 1 officer lost an eye. 1 had 2 cracked ribs, 2 smashed spinal discs. Another had a stroke. Were the people who assaulted those 140 officers, including those I just mentioned, patriots who deserve pardons?
Well, let me bring it back to modern day. Like about 5 days ago, we had an attack on the Capitol, a horrible attack on the Capitol. You saw the people that were protesting and spraying these incredible monuments, bells, lions, all these magnificent limestone and granite with red paint, red spray paint that will never actually come off.
Y'all see what they trying to do? They trying to put Donald Trump in a little trick by trying to ask him them type of questions. Oh, would you pardon these officers who just did this to this person? That's what they trying to do. This is what ABC be trying to do. They be trying to ask Donald Trump stuff and then be trying to twist his words. If I were Trump, I would have just walked off stage. But I understand, you know, he want to answer the questions. He ain't gonna run from nothing. But it's just the way that this woman right here from ABC is asking him questions. It's like she's just trying to get him to say something. I mean, come on, man.
Especially in the limestone. It will never, I'm a builder, I know about this stuff. It'll never, you'll see it in 100 years from now. They viciously attacked our government. They fought with police. They fought with them much more openly than I saw on January 6th. What's going to happen to those people? What's going to happen to the people in Portland that destroyed that city?
But sir, my question is on those.
What's going to happen to the people that tried to
My question is on those rioters who assaulted
Excuse me.
officers.
You have to
Would you pardon
What's
those
going to
people?
happen? Oh, absolutely, I would.
You
If
would
they're
pardon
innocent-
those-
If they're innocent, I would pardon them.
They've been convicted.
And by the way, the Supreme Court just they were convicted by a very tough system. How come the people that tried to burn down Minneapolis, how come the people that took over a large percentage of Seattle, how come nothing happened to them? How come the
But
people
sir, we're
that,
talking about
how
people
come
that
the
were
people-
seen
No.
beating
We're
officers
talking
with
about federal
flagpoles,
buildings.
dragging them down the stairs. They're on video. Have you seen that
Really?
video,
Oh,
sir?
really? Well, they
you would
shot-
pardon those. You would pardon those rioters?
They shot a young lady in the face who was protesting. They shot her in the face. You know, nobody died that day. You do know that. But people died in Seattle. Nobody died, but people died in
140
Minneapolis.
officers
You know
were
people died in
assaulted that
Minneapolis.
day.
And nothing happens, and nobody ever talks, and nothing happens to those people. But you went after the J6 people with a vengeance. And I'll tell you what, What about the cops that were, and I'm all for the police, as you know, but what about the police that are ushering everybody into the Capitol? Go in, go in, go in. What about that? Look, nothing is perfect in life, but you have people from Minneapolis, you have people just from 5 days ago in Washington, D.C. They were having fistfights and fighting with the police. They were spraying and destroying, they were desecrating our monuments in Washington, D.C. 5 days ago, and nothing happened to them. And you can't have two systems of justice. That's why they went after me as a political opponent, because they felt they couldn't win without doing that. And we're going to win our cases and we're going to be vindicated. But I have to spend a lot of time on that and money. That's what they want. After the election, they won't care. Although in my case, I think they probably will, because the hatred is pretty deep. But I'll tell you, they went after me as a political opponent. That's never happened in our country before, and it sets a terrible, terrible precedent.
What do you do on day one if you win? What's your first thing?
What do? I close the border, and I do two things, because I can do a lot of things simultaneously. I close the border. We don't want people coming. We want people to come in, Harris, but they have to be vetted. They have to be checked. They have to come in legally. I want people to come into our country, but they have to be vetted. They have to be checked. So when you say, what do I do? That, and I drill, baby, drill. I bring energy way down. I bring interest rates down. I bring inflation way down so people can buy bacon again, so people can buy a ham sandwich again, so that people can go to a restaurant and afford it. Because right now, people can't buy food. Your grocery bills are up 40, 50, 60%, right? She's agreeing to me. Oh, she's agreeing. Thank you. I like you very much.
Mr. President, I think we are.
But it's true. Your grocery bills are up. And then they're mandating that you buy an all-electric car. You know, Elon Musk endorsed me, and he's a friend of mine. He's a good guy. He's a smart guy. But I'm against everybody having an electric car, okay? I'm very much against that. You have to be able to, if you want a hybrid or if you want a gasoline-propelled car. But, you know, we have more liquid gold, gasoline, oil, under our feet than any other country, more than Saudi Arabia, more than Russia, more than any other country. I want to use it. I want to use what we have. I want to bring down prices, bring down costs, and I also have to stop the invasion. And remember, they're taking your jobs. These people coming in are taking your jobs.
Project 2025.
I think we have to leave it there by the Trump team.
All right.
So we'll leave it. That is the last word. Thank you so much, Mr. Trump, for coming today and joining us.
Well, thank you very much.
They've been telling us.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody, very much. Great honor.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Salute to President Trump for even just sitting around, just listening to that. For him even just listening to that, man, like, the average person would have got up and said, you know what, I can't deal with this crap. Especially the way that woman was talking and stuff like that, trying to put him in some type of little trick box or whatever the case may be. But Donald Trump wasn't going to fall for that. He was not going to fall for that. Let me go ahead and pull this right here back up so we can kind of stay up to date with everything that's going on. And salute. Let me see. I think we had a couple super chats. Let me make sure I read that. Let me go down. Salute to DA. He said, I agree with your comments about these women. Thanks for keeping it real. I'm glad Trump hasn't lost his patience with them. Salute to you, DA. I'm glad he didn't lose his patience either. Hassana. Thank you for the 1999 super sticker. Thank you, Hassana. I appreciate everybody, man, who shows support to the channel, who super chats. I really appreciate that. Thank you very much for that. Salute to everybody who's been leaving the chat. Salute to everybody that's here. Like I said, if you haven't hit the like button, please hit that like button. It really, really helps out a lot. Wow. Salute to Linda D. Thank you, Adogg and Mia. This is one of my favorite channels. God bless you both. Thank you, Linda. Thank you for that. Wow. Oh, man, that right there is amazing, Linda D. Salute. I appreciate all of you, man, with the super chats. Man, thank you. Wow. Look at Pat said, wow, Linda, that was awesome. Yeah, that's awesome. Wow. I don't even know what to say. I'm in shock over here. I'm in shock. But thank you, man. Thank you for everybody showing support to the channel. I really appreciate that a lot. Thank you very much. I think we are still waiting. I think President Trump should be coming out in 4 minutes. He should be coming out in 4 minutes. Everybody say salute to Linda. Jim said Linda came to play. What a blessing, man. That's a blessing. Thank you. That means a lot. I'm just lost for words. Richard said bonus for the month. Susan, thank you. I really appreciate that. Salute. I told y'all I'm over here. I'm in shock, y'all. I'm over here in shock. Wow. I don't know how many times I said wow, but wow. Everybody's saying go Linda. Please hit that like button. Salute to you, Fano. Fano always, make sure everybody hit that like button. Thank you, Fano fans. Thank you. Yeah. And Mill too. They always making sure people hit that like button, show support to the channel. I really appreciate that. But President Trump should be coming out in 3 minutes. So while we waiting on that, y'all ever seen Biden fall asleep during an interview?
Thank you for doing this. How do you pull this out? Frightening. This is not how decent people behave. This is not how people who want to be president behave.
There's not many people watching anyway. So,
is there anything you regret?
This is sort of the last gasp.
I know you believe that Mr. Trump will be a better president of the United States.
That's what we're talking about.
Total disaster. What are you going to do about it?
Let's skip over that.
But he's going to win?
They're overwhelmingly popular with the American people. Look, I never thought that would happen. Never, 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 never. If it fails here, Katie bar the door.
We'll see.
Thanks for having me.
Bye.
Salute. Thank you, Linda. Linda said, Adogg, you do so much for us. I appreciate that, Linda. I try my best to make sure I get y'all the news on everything that's going on. You know how much I support Donald Trump, how much I want him to win to really fix this country. So, and I'm going to continue to do that, and I appreciate that. That right there is a blessing, man. Thank you very much for that, Linda. I'm going to continue to show my support for Donald Trump. Hopefully everybody go out and vote for him. We got to get him in office. Kamala Harris, I mean, this woman is so far left. She literally trying to destroy this country. This woman is she on word trying to raise taxes and all type of stuff. She trying to let criminals and murderers and all that out of jail. I mean, she literally trying to destroy this country. It's already destroyed, but she trying to make it even worse. I can't say I know where anybody wants to vote for Kamala Harris. And salute to the PayPal from Miss Lorraine. Thank you, Lorraine, for the PayPal donation. Thank you, Lorraine. I appreciate that. Thank y'all for the donations, man. I really appreciate that. Wow. So while we waiting on this, I'm gonna leave this stream right here up until President Trump should be coming out in like a minute now, so he should be on his way out. And we're gonna turn the feed to there. So let's do this right here. Let me go up.
Hello and welcome to the first 2024 presidential debate hosted by CNN. I am Jake Tapper, and somewhere around here is my colleague, Dana Bash. I'd like to set the ground rules to this debate. First off, Biden is allowed to speak whenever he wishes. We will have commercial breaks whenever Biden feels the urge so that his needs can be taken care of. This may or may not include naps, energy boosts, or a snack such as ice cream. On the other hand, Trump is not allowed to speak unless spoken to, and if he interrupts Joe speaking, we're automatically going to deduct 10 points from Trump and Door. As the hall moderator of this debate, I can call it off at any moment and declare it a complete victory for Biden. Where did Trump go? He was just here.
All right, President Trump should be getting ready to come out now. We at 6:00 right now, so he should be on his way out now. Salute to you, Blaine Harmon, for the $4.99. Do you believe in the polls? The poll hats are out right now. The thing is about the polls, you see the left is literally trying to lie, making it seem like Kamala Harris is actually beating Donald Trump in like different polls. Like, come on, stop with that mess. How is this woman beating Donald Trump in any polls? I mean, come on. Salute to you, Sam. Salute. So let's see. I think President Trump. Salute to your LA Rams for being a member for 11 months. Trump is the man. LA Rams, you already know that. You already know Trump is the man, and we need him, man. We really do. If we gonna fix this country, we got to get him back in there. I'm telling you, Kamala Harris, all she doing is trying to pander to black people, making it seem like she's black when she literally on video saying she's Indian. We ain't falling for that. So I think President Trump getting ready to come out.
Wow. Well, thank you very much, everybody. It's a great crowd. There are a lot of people. Over 20,000 people couldn't get in, and we didn't need anybody to get the people here. We didn't need a star. We didn't need a star. We didn't need some entertainer to fill it up. And then she goes on last night. In about 6 minutes, everyone was leaving. They were pouring out. We don't need that. We've got our star. You know who the star is? All of you people are the star. You're the star. And I mean that. Hello, Harrisburg. A very special hello to Pennsylvania. I'm thrilled to be back in this beautiful Commonwealth with thousands of proud, hardworking American patriots. Thank you very much. As you know, this is my first return to Pennsylvania since our rally in Butler. We're going back to Butler, too, by the way. People said to me, "Are you serious?" I said, "I'm serious. We're going back. It's a great place." 18 days ago, where we had a very terrible day. We had a rough day, I will tell you, by all accounts. I should not be with you today. I shouldn't be with you. But I am. I want to thank all of the people of Pennsylvania for their extraordinary love and support. It is incredible. We're going to win this thing so big. We're going to win it big, including everyone at Butler Memorial Hospital. They were fantastic. Wow. Wow. They saw some pretty bad things. Thank you. Thank you very much. No, they did an amazing job. And we have, by the way, we have the doctor, one of the great doctors was there. He worked on Corey, actually. Corey had a hard time. Corey is special. Thank you, doctor. Appreciate it very much. Great doctors, The job they did on David Dutch and James Copenhaver was just incredible. And as you know, they brought him back from very, very seriously wounded. They were going to be maybe not with us. It was a group of us, but they are doing really well now. They're making it. They're going to be fine. Not going to be perfect, maybe, but who is? Who is? As we get older, who is perfect? But the doctors were so great. They had two great doctors also. And most of all, we lift our memory to the brave firefighter who was so cruelly taken from us, Corey Comparator. A very brave guy, loved by his family and his friends. He was really loved. Huh? In his last act on this earth, Corey threw himself over his wife and daughters and died, shielding them from the bullets of a very disturbed guy. Corey is a hero to all of us, I want to thank a friend of mine, too. I'm not going to mention his name because he's pretty well known. And he came up to me. He said, would it be okay if I presented Corey's wife and family with a check? And I said, yeah, it would be okay with me. It's certainly okay. And he handed me a check for $1 million. $1 million. Think of that. Thank you, Dan. So he was very generous. In addition, we have a GoFundMe that's, it's really been great. I think we're at $6 million mark for the three of them, plus some other people. So, but you know what? Corey's wife said, I'd rather have my husband. Isn't that good? I know a lot of wives that would not say that. I'm sorry. They would not say that. But no, it's a great family. He was a great man. He was a brave man. He saw what was happening and he jumped on top and he got hit. But we will carry Corey's spirit of love and devotion and patriotism with us for all time. And we will never forget Corey or his beautiful family. And maybe let's have a brief moment of silence in memory of Corey, great Pennsylvanian. Thank you very much. Thank you, everybody. Beautiful. Beautiful. That is the most quiet I have ever heard an arena. I have never heard, you could hear a pin drop. No, it's amazing. It's a beautiful thing. In the wake of this heinous attack, we gather tonight more determined than ever. Our resolve is unbroken and our will is undeterred. Nothing will stop us on our mission to make America great again. Nothing's going to stop us. Our country is doing badly. Front row Joe's over here. Front row Joe's, look at them. They've been to 212 events. You know, I'm pretty sure we have their vote. I'm not sure. You can never be sure of anything. You're voting for Trump. Okay, front row Joe's. They love us and we love them. Thank you very much. Thanks, everybody. But as we're fighting to bring back the American dream for you and your family, the radical left Democrat Party bosses have installed a puppet candidate to fight only for themselves. Kamala Harris got 0 votes. She's totally scripted, owned, and controlled by the donors and the power brokers who created her campaign and who rip off our government and make billions and billions of dollars. They want to call them up and they want to deal with her. And I didn't deal like that. I never dealt like that. I didn't need the money. I said, no, I don't want to do that. I told a lot of guys that I like and some guys that I don't like, but very rich people, I just can't do that. I can't do it. They want to do the telephone systems. They want to do lots of little things like that. We'd like to take over the telephone system of the United States. I'm sorry, I can't do that. But unlike her, I cannot be bought and I cannot be controlled. I have no interest in that. My only loyalty is to you, the people. And you know that. Well, I could have had such a nice, easy life. I could be at a nice place right now, relaxing, watching the waves break in. But I'd rather be right here in Harrisburg with you. People that built our country. You're the people that built our country. I mean, some people don't like saying that, but you are indeed the people that built the country. We have, no matter where we go, we have the most incredible people. After lying to the country for years about Joe Biden's mental and physical condition, Kamala is now being given a personality makeover. Don't forget, 4 weeks ago, she was like considered the worst. Not smart, terrible, the worst vice president in history. He's the worst president we've ever had, but they were considered terrible. And all of a sudden, she's the new Margaret Thatcher. That happened, right? The great Margaret Thatcher. No, I don't think so. But you're gonna learn little things like defund the police. That doesn't work, does it? Huh? You're gonna learn. Because everything about Kamala Harris rollout, it's phony and it's fake. Did you see when President Obama and Michelle called? Did you see? Hello? Hello? Yes. Yes. Who is this? Oh, this is Michelle and Barack. Oh. So surprised to hear. They got 4 cameras in front. Oh, I'm so surprised. It's on speakerphone. Listen, we just want to congratulate you on destroying Joe Biden. I mean, on winning the... Hey, is Joe Biden gonna... Was that the phoniest phone call you've ever seen? How do you think, Dan? What do you think? Dan Muser, great congressman. What do you think? Was that a phony phone call? You wouldn't do it. You wouldn't get away. In your district, you wouldn't get away with it, would you? But she's a defund the police radical trying to pass herself off as a tough on crime prosecutor. She wasn't tough on crime. She's only tough on guys like me because they want to go after their political opponents. And we won the big case in Florida. Did you see? We won it. And he had a similar case, but it was much worse, and he didn't have the Presidential Records Act. He had a similar case, and you know, the special counsel, which is basically special prosecutor, adjudged him to be essentially mentally incompetent, with poor memory, but a nice old guy. He's not old. You know, 81 is not old. I have friends that are 95 that are still. Bernie Marcus, founder of Home Depot, 95 years old, still sharp, still sharp. I spoke to him the other day. I said, I think you're smarter now than you were 30 years ago. I don't know what's going on. I said, what's going on? It's working every... 81 is not old. And, but he's different. He's a bad 81. He's a bad 81. And he's destroying our country, I'll tell you. And she's worse than he is. She is actually worse than he is because she's a real radical left. He's a phony radical left. He didn't believe this stuff. He didn't believe in open borders, and she does. She wants to open your borders. She wants to have all-electric cars. She loves the all-electric car mandate. She destroyed San Francisco. But she's the architect of the border invasion, trying to pretend she's strong on border security. She's now pretending that she was never called the border czar. She was called the border czar the first day. She's the border czar. And she never went. She actually went, you know, they say, they fact-check me. Anything I say is like a little... She actually went to a beautiful part of the border. I would love to take my First Lady wife there to have dinner. It's beautiful, very safe. No, she didn't go to the real border, did she, Front Row Joe? She went to a nice little place, was there for a short period of time and left. So she's never really been to the border, and she's the border czar, and our country's being invaded with people from prisons and people from mental institutions and terrorists. She's a failed vice president leading a failed administration while trying to convince you that she represents hope and change. Well, she does represent change. She wants to turn us into a communist country. That's her change. She was voted the most unpopular vice president in history. That's hard for a vice president to be that unpopular, right? Just like Biden will go down as the single worst president in the history of our nation. The happiest man is Jimmy Carter. He's an old guy right now. He's an old guy, but he's happy because his administration is considered brilliant. Brilliant by comparison to this disaster that we have right now. In her speech in Atlanta last night, Kamala Harris even tried to outbrand a new Southern accent. Did you hear a new accent? If I ever did that, all of those people back there, look at them, look at all those cameras. Oh, when I go through hell, I'd have a week of hell if I ever tried to do that. The contrast could not be more stark. On the one hand, you have a radical left puppet candidate who is fake, fake, fake. And on the other hand, you have a president who will fight, fight, fight for America. This is a hell of a big arena. How many seats? This looks like Madison Square Garden. This is a big, beautiful place. Wow. I didn't care. Although they'd prefer that we be in an arena. I don't know why. But we're not giving up the outdoor rallies. You know, all those people that we had to turn away today at an outdoor rally, we had 107,000 people show up in New Jersey. 107,000. But you know, in the South Bronx, we had 25,000 people. It was like a love fest. South Bronx, tough place, but it was a lot of love. No matter how much Kamala Harris tries to change her image, she cannot change this fact. She is the most extreme liberal candidate in the history of our country by far. She's an extreme radical left lunatic. And you know, I've been saying for the last 6 months, I've been saying about politicians, because I really know politicians. Well, I've dealt with them on both sides. And, you know, then I said, let's do this, you know, thank you. But when a politician comes out early on with an idea like she wants to defund the police and all these other things she wants to do, really bad things, that's where they're at. They're going to be there eventually, right? Mike Kelly, stand up, Mike, will you please? This guy, he used to stand up. He's my friend. He endorsed me on day one, right? Day one. He endorsed me before I was running. He said, that guy's got to run. I endorsed him. I didn't even run. How many endorsements do I have? Well, you got Kelly of Pennsylvania. I wasn't running. Anyway, thank you, Mike. I appreciate it. He would stand out at those outdoor rallies when it was 10 degrees below zero and it was 97 degrees out without a shirt on. It's not that pretty a sight. Not that pretty, but he had no fear. He's a tough guy and they love him. They love you in this state. Kamala Harris co-sponsored Bernie Sanders' $32 trillion socialist takeover of the entire U.S. health care system. Think of this, U.S. health care, it would mean that we're gonna have to raise your taxes, bankrupt our country, and she supported outlawing all of the private health insurance. A lot of people in this room have some people want private health. Some of it's incredible. You go to these companies, they're doing an incredible job. They want to be able to, she wants that banned and she wants that outlawed. You can't buy that anymore. You're paying for it, but it's great stuff. I mean, some of the companies have unbelievable, the golden plans and all that. And she wants it to be ended. She pledged to give free taxpayer-funded health care to all illegal aliens. Think of that. Oh, and she'll do that, which will totally destroy our social security system. She sponsored a bill to give illegal aliens taxpayer-funded lawyers so they could sue us. And she called for abolishing ICE. These are unbelievable patriots, by the way. They're almost as tough as our congressman sitting in the front. They're almost as tough as the man that's going to be your next governor, by the way. He's tough, too. He's tough. He's a great military hero. And he'll come up. I'm allowed to have him up for a little while, right? Just a couple of minutes, right? He's great. He's great. And I hear you're doing very well. But you get ready. You got to knock them dead. She compared ICE agents to members of the KKK. She likened Border Patrol agents to practitioners of human slavery. We have a lot of those great people here tonight, like Brandon Judd, the head of the union, Paul. We have so many different people. And they didn't like that analogy too much. She voted in favor of deadly sanctuary cities numerous times. She supports open borders. That's all you'd have to hear. I think 2 words. You know, they say, sir, go down a list. We have a list of 25 things. All you really have to say is 2 things. Open borders, defund the police. The rest is all, but, you know, although she is going to kill Social Security, because by putting all of these illegal aliens into Social Security, it's dead. It's dead. She opposes even saying the words illegal alien and radical Islamic terrorists. She backs mass amnesty, and citizenship for all illegals. She supports mandatory gun confiscation. Would anybody mind, Mr. Congressman, would they mind having their guns ripped out of their arms as they enter their house or their apartment? I don't think so. I don't think. She said that 70 to 80% tax rate is, quote, a very bold idea, something that we have to discuss very seriously. She likes it. And you know, all my life I watched politicians, and they've always said, we will reduce your taxes, we will reduce your taxes, we will cut your taxes. They want to give you a tax increase of 5 times what you're paying now. How the hell do you get elected? This country is so screwed up. Everything's backwards. We want open border, we want taxing. How do you like to be a politician? We want open borders, we want tax increases, we want all electric cars so that you can go 15 minutes before you charge it up. And for all the congressmen that are here, in the Midwest, they built 8 charging stations. Now, you know what that is? That's like a gas pump with electricity coming out. Just a charging terminal. It cost $9 billion. Did you hear that, Mike? Did you hear that? Scott, oh, I said, he's another tough. We got tough congressmen here. These are tough cookies, these Pennsylvania guys. Wow, look at that. We're going to introduce them in a second. Scott. So they spent $9 billion on 8 charging stations, 2 of which never worked. I don't think any of them worked. She wants government intervention to slash consumption of red meat. They don't want red meat. That means they don't want your cows. Get rid of your cows. Would anybody like to keep red meat? Raise your hand. You know, think of it, borders and electric mandate and all the things, red meat. Oh, how the hell do you get elected, right? You know how they got elected? By cheating. They get elected by cheating. Because they want to raise your taxes by 5 times. Oh, please vote for me. I'm going to raise your taxes 5 times higher. But the red meat is to fight climate change, okay? Climate change. She supports ending cash bail to immediately release criminals upon arrest. They kill somebody, no bail, don't worry about it, no cash. You know, you just killed 3 people, no. Let's let them out in Harrisburg. It's a wonderful place. And in 2020, she personally urged her followers to donate money to bail out the violent rioters, get them right out of jail, including murderers. You know what that was all about, right? In Minnesota, which I think we have a good chance of winning. Hasn't been won since 1972 by a Republican. And we're leading. Tom Emmer's going to bring that one home, they tell me. He's going to bring it home. This November, the American people are going to reject Kamala Harris's dangerous liberal extremism in a massive landslide. We're going to, too big to rig, right? Too big to rig. Too big to rig. We're not going to let her turn the United States into a communist San Francisco colony. We're not going to let it happen. That's what they want to do. They want to destroy our country. She's the worst. She was a bad DA long before you had your DA, long before you had some of these DAs that you have, as you know, in Philadelphia and Pennsylvania, but in Los Angeles, all over the place, all over the place. You have bad DAs. You have radical left, horrible DAs that are funded by Soros and others, and they're weak. They're just weak on crime. They don't mind if somebody murders somebody. They don't want them to go to jail. You can kill somebody now. Our country is sick. The mindset of our country is sick. And we're not going to let her do to Pennsylvania what she did to California. She destroyed San Francisco, one of the best cities in the world, and it's in tatters. So she's a liberal from California. She ruined the state. She ruined one of the greatest cities in the world. You know, 15 years ago, a great friend of mine, Bob Tisch, great guy, who's an owner of the New York Giants and a very smart guy, wonderful guy too. Maybe even longer, a little longer than 50. He said San Francisco is the best city in our country. And today it's a disaster, just a disaster. He passed away quite a while ago, and he would look down and say, what the hell happened to that city? But he thought San Francisco was one of the greats. He thought Chicago was one of the greats. You know, Chicago on July 4th weekend had 117 shootings and 17 people died. Think of it. This is not even believable. When you hear about Afghanistan and the horrible job that this president did with Afghanistan, a low point, but they don't have anything like that. In one of the most astoundingly phony moments in her speech last night, Kamala Harris bragged that, quote, "I will proudly put my record against Donald Trump's any day of the week. I will put it against Donald Trump." This got one of the worst records in anywhere. Well, Kamala, let's go. Challenge accepted. Are you ready? Let's compare our record point by point. I can't believe I'm doing it. You know, the weird thing, I mean, 2 weeks ago, I was talking about Biden. I didn't even know her name. Nobody did. Kamala. Hello. Beautiful. I didn't even know her name. Kamala. I heard she was a rotten border czar. That's about all I knew about her. Her only job was the border, and she never went there. But 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, it was all about Biden. Then I kept hearing they were going to steal it from him, and I said, you know, it's hard to do because I understand when you have the delegates. He had all the delegates. He had 100% of the delegates. He had 14 million votes. I said, you can't really do it. But then they threatened him very strongly. They said, you're incompetent, and we're going to get you out. He just won, you know. No, if they happen to be right, he was incompetent, but these are minor details. No, he just won. He had all the votes. And he could have said no, but he was afraid. And he's an angry man right now. Here's the big question I have. Will he be invited to the Democrat National Convention? Will he be invited, Mr. Congressman? I don't know. Now he will because I'm mentioning it. If I didn't mention it, he would not be invited. But now they have to invite him. But you know what's crazy, the craziest thing? So you don't mind if I go off teleprompter all the time. It's such a shame. I have these great speechwriters. They really are. Ross and Vince, they're great. They're the best speechwriters. And I hardly speak about this. I could read the most gorgeous speech, but you may be bored to tears. No, they're beautiful. The words are beautiful. Everything's great. The sun will rise. The moon will set. The oceans will glisten. I say, that's beautiful, but I'm not sure that Harrisburg wants to hear that stuff. What do you think, Congressman? What do you think? Doctor, I don't think so. No, they are great, but I tend to go off about 75% of the time. But you know, the hard part is that 3-4 weeks ago, I was talking about Biden. He's incompetent. He's a horrible president. He's the worst president in the history of the country. Now I say she's the worst vice president, which is true. She's considered the worst. She's the most unpopular vice president in the history of the country. She did a transformation. You know, the press is very corrupt. You know that. They gave her a transformation like Houdini. That was a Houdini-like, that was a magic trick. But don't worry, she's going to fall because it's not about him or her. It's about the policies. They're the same and they're horrible, right? But they gave her, so, you know, it's sort of like, I don't know if anybody watch UFC as an example. Do you watch it, right? Dana White, the great Dana White. Did you see him? He introduced me the other day at our convention. We had the greatest convention in the history of politics, in my opinion. Thank you, Milwaukee and Wisconsin. And the arena was beautiful. It was an unbelievable. But Dana White introduced me, and he heads up UFC. He's done an incredible job. But it's almost like you're having a fight between two guys, and one guy is getting beat up bad. Then he goes to a debate, right? The debate didn't work out too well. How did the debate work out for him? I don't think so good, Scott. The debate didn't work out exactly good. Then he tried to recover from the debate by going out every day, and it got worse and worse. It was a basic disaster. But it's like having two fighters, and the one guy's getting beat up really badly, and they say, all right, stop the fight. Come on out. I'll put a new one in. That's what we have here. Kamala is the new fighter. Who cares? Under my leadership, we achieved the most secure border in U.S. history. You know that because you didn't have people sleeping on your lawn all night. We ended catch and release. We stopped asylum, fraud, coal. We got remain in Mexico. Remember that one? You think that was easy to get? I call up the president of Mexico, a friend of mine. He's a socialist, but still he was a friend of mine. He gave us many, many thousands of troops to guard our border while we were building the wall. I built hundreds of miles of wall, and then they didn't want to finish it up, which could have taken place very quickly. But think of it. But, you know, we got remain, think of it, remain in Mexico. That means you can't come into our country. You have to remain in Mexico until you get approved, of which very few people got approved. You think that was easy? That wasn't easy. Negotiated historic safe third agreements, which are complex. I won't waste your time, but they were great. With Central American nations, built 571 miles. Think of that, a border wall. We're going to add another 200, far more than I said I was going to build. And it was working. It was working. It was good. We had the best illegal immigration non-flow, I call it. They were having a hard time. Also, drugs were way down. Human trafficking was way down. It's human trafficking in women, mostly. You know, it sounds ancient, human trafficking. It sounds like something from 1,000 years ago, but it's as big a business in a sense as the drug business. And the reason is because of the internet. The internet made human trafficking a very, very big and horrible business. They traffic in women. They put them in the trunk of a car. They put them in the back seat and they close it up and you can't even breathe. And they bring them across the border. We had knocked it down cold, and now it's at a level 5 times greater than it ever was before. Nobody's there to check. Nobody's to look at the car. Nobody knows who's there, who's in it. But you can see it on a certain chart that I have. You know, this chart saved my life. Where is that chart? I love that chart. I'm going to sleep with that chart for the rest of my life, that chart. That chart. You know, the amazing thing, you know, the people that operate the computers and all the brilliant equipment we have backstage, she said to me, she's great, she's great. She should come out. Just tell her to come out here for a second. Quick, 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 quick. You got to get her out. She's never done this before. She saved my life, in a sense. I said, you saved my life. Here she is. Wow. Whoa.
Hi.
No, she's a computer genius. She saved my life. No. So, you know, the story is, but that chart, I only used it probably less than 20% of the time. So in other words, we do the rallies and stuff. Sometimes I'll pull it down, sometimes I won't, because I do things a little bit at random while I'm up here. Hello, look at a big fella back there. But I do things a little bit at random. But 2 things about the chart. It's always on my left, which means I'm gone. It's always on my left. If it was on my left, I have Mr. Governor, Mr. Future Governor. I have no chance because it would have been perfect hit. And it's only used a little bit. And I always use it at the end of a speech. I never used it early. In fact, she was saying today, it was we were really sort of flabbergasted because you called for it at the very beginning of your speech. And that chart, I'm so proud of it. Now I like it much more than I liked it before. But see the arrow on the bottom? That's the lowest level of illegal immigration in the history of our country recorded. And that was the last week of my presidency, Mike. So that was the last week. And look what happened to our country after that. And those are now a little bit old, because if you look on the right, it's a little bit old. Those numbers are much higher. They right now would go off the ceiling. And that's what happened to our country in a short period of time, 3.5 years. But look at that number and look at that arrow. So anyway, much more importantly right now, I say, I'm talking about illegal immigration real quick. I said, you know what, pull up the chart. Pull it up. And they weren't ready but they're so good. And I said, wow, that was so quick. there's nobody over here except for this lunatic. And because the crowd was massive, as far as the eye could see, I mean, that's why I love those outdoor sites, because you don't have to send 20,000 people back home. And I hate to do that. They come out and they want to get in, and then you get the seats. Would anybody like to give up your seat? I thought you were nicer people than that in Pennsylvania. Anyway, so I say chart, and I go like this in the chart. So a couple of things. She told me today, she said, you know, the amazing thing is you always call for the chart at the end of the speech, not the beginning. So that was one factor. That's crazy. It's always on your left, not your right. It happened to be on the right this time. I don't think I've ever seen it on the right. And various other things. And if I'm here, it's over. If I'm here, it's no good. I had to be exactly, because he was exactly where that very beautiful woman in the white is, right? Stand up. That's exactly. And my son said, that's not a long distance, 100. I don't know so much about shooting, other than I'm very good for the Second Amendment, I can tell you, but I don't know so much about shooting. But I know about sports, I know about golf. He said, that's like sinking a 2-foot putt, Dad. That would be the equivalent, is that right? He actually said might be less than that, because some people can't sink a 2-foot putt, like Biden. I would say Biden. Biden can't say. But that's like sinking. Did anybody see the Bryson DeChambeau thing? That was cool. We had a good time. He's a great guy, great young athlete. So all these things, and you know, then you figure, what are the odds that happened, right? Where you're literally exactly there. You hadn't made the full turn. But that chart will always be my world's most favorite chart for a lot of reasons. Number one is that day in Butler, Pennsylvania. Number two is, look at those numbers. That was the lowest number of illegal aliens that we've ever had. So it really was a very important, that was a very important thing. It was done by Border Patrol. Now let's examine the record of border czar Harris. She inherited the strongest border in U.S. history and immediately turned it into the worst border nightmare in the history of the world. There's no country in the world that's ever had a border like this. I think the real number is 20 million people, maybe more. Nobody knows. You know, you have a thing called gotaways. We have millions of gotaways, meaning people that weren't caught, they got away. Upon taking office, Harris and Biden stopped wall construction, halted all deportations, protected sanctuary cities, ended remain in Mexico and our asylum cooperation agreements, which are very important, and allowed a gigantic invasion of our country, bringing in millions and millions of illegal aliens at levels never seen before. Now, actually, other than that, I thought she's doing a very good job, right? She's done a wonderful job. She's the worst ever. And she's going to be your president. She will destroy our country. This November, the American people are going to compare these records, and they're going to tell Border Czar Harris, you have done a horrible job. You're a disgrace to our country. You're fired. Get out of here. You're fired. Get out. Get the hell out of here. But Kamala is protected by the fake news. They're trying to delete everything she said. Hey, did you ever see the Unselect Committee? The Unselect Committee on January 6th, did you see where they went and deleted and destroyed all evidence? It was deleted and destroyed. So I think, Dan, you and all of my friends here, they should be indicted for that. They destroyed evidence. You know why? Because the evidence showed that we were innocent. The evidence showed that Nancy Pelosi should have had protection at the Capitol that I offered her, and they turned it down. The evidence showed that all these stories were fake, including me wanting to grab a big, strong Secret Service agent around the neck. Think of this. Think of this. I'm in a car. I say, fellas, I'd love to go down to the Capitol. Sir, we don't think it's good because, you know, you're very exposed there. It's all that. Okay. I said, you don't think we could? No. So I said, all right, where do you want to go? They'll go back to the White House. That's the experience. This one person had me getting extremely upset. I don't get upset. When somebody smart says, sir, you're probably better, and nothing was happening. It was just people were walking down, remember, patriotically, right? Right? Right. So they had me coming from the back of the car. Now, these guys are very strong. They're young and strong. Not as strong as me, but they're strong. And I grabbed the one guy driving, and he's got arms like this. I grabbed him, and I was rebuffed. And then I went over to the right, and I think he's like a world champion karate guy, right? Like a very tough cookie. Bobby. His name's Bobby. That's all I know, but I know him well. He's a good guy. And I grabbed him around the neck, and I began to twist and turn. And he was in tremendous pain because of the power of Trump. Tremendous pain. And then I went back to the White House and I started throwing hamburgers at the wall. This is the story of this person. So they went to the Secret Service. They found out it was all bullshit. Everything. All made up. It was just made up. Which most people, I mean, honestly, most people would think that. You know, think of me grabbing these two strong, tough guys. That's what they do. The one guy said, you know, if somebody ever put their arms around me, he's trained automatically to go with his fingers like that. You know, just what he's trained. I like other things better, personally. I'd like to run the country better. That's what I'd like to do, you know. So they're good with the finger. They're good with their fingers into the eye. The fingers into the eye, and you have a tendency to immediately let go and get a towel and start crying because it hurts. They say, oh, that hurts. No, it was all made up stuff, you know. It was all made up stuff. But wouldn't you think it is? I mean, who would believe Trump was so angry he grabbed the one guy who was rebuffed. Then he grabbed the other one around the neck. These people are sick. Who would believe it? But probably some people do, even if it's 5 people. But some people would believe it. You know, they hear it. They deleted everything because the stories turned out to be false. They deleted everything. Nancy Pelosi turned down 10,000 troops or National Guard. If we had 500, you wouldn't have had a problem. And what you never see is the crowd. The crowd was the largest crowd I've ever spoken before. And a small portion walked peacefully and patriotically down to the Capitol. You remember the term? Peacefully and patriotically. He's horrible. It's insurrection. You know, if you have an insurrection, you don't say peacefully and patriotically, right, Mike? You say, let's go. No, these are really bad people. These are crooked people. And then her daughter, you saw that about a month ago, her daughter taped her saying that it was her fault. Their daughter is a cinematographer. I'm sure Nancy's thrilled. They just released a tape where Nancy is saying, this is my fault. This is during the thing because she didn't accept my offer. She said, this is my fault. I could have stopped this. Now she's trying to say, well, she didn't really mean that. No, these are bad people. They're trying to delete everything that she said over the last, think of it, this is on Kamala, it's no different. Over the last 10 years, that's controversial or bad. It's like defund the police, the fact that she was given authority over the border, that, you know, they're trying to say that under no circumstances was she even in charge of the border. And the fake news is trying to delete everything. Are you seeing what's going on? They're trying to delete everything. But, you know, the internet is wonderful in certain ways. We have every single copy of every article, but they're trying to delete it. Under crazy Kamala's policies, you know, when I got hit, everybody thought I was going to be a nice guy. And they thought I changed. Remember, just before the Republican convention. And nobody thought I'd be there. You know, it's not great to be there when your ear is slightly throbbing. Let's go to the convention, darling, to the First Lady. Let's go. But I got there. Next day I left, right? And it was the greatest convention. But And it was like a convention like no other. It was a convention that we were all so proud of. But they all said, Trump is going to be a nice man now. He came close to death. And I really agreed with that for about 8 hours or so. And then I realized they were trying to put me in prison for doing absolutely nothing wrong. They went to judges who are crooked judges. They went to judges who are fake. They had prosecutors who are Democrat radical lefts, and always in areas where it's like 3% Republican or less. And I said, you know, these are bad people. So I was nice for about, what would you say, Dan, 3, 4, 5 hours. And then I said, these are bad people. We have to win this battle. And you know what? They're going to become nicer when we win. But we're going to have to win, I believe, to make them reasonable, because they are crazy. They are crazy. Under Kamala's policies, criminals, rapists, and vicious gang members are pouring in from South America, Asia, Africa, the Middle East, from prisons, from jails, from mental institutions, and insane asylum. You know, an insane asylum is a step above, right? This is, oh, they go crazy when they want to try and say, he's cognitively impaired. You know, I stand up here for 2 hours and I speak without a mistake. But when I say Hannibal Lecter, they say, why does he keep mentioning it? Because Hannibal Lecter was a serious psycho, right? He was Silence of the Lambs. Dr. Hannibal Lecter, he'd like to have you for dinner. See the man with the wall? Stand up. Look at this guy. He's here so much. He's great. He's great. He's a Trump voter. I don't think we have to worry about him, do we? He's a Trump voter all the way. But Hannibal Lecter would like to have you for dinner. But these people are now in our country, and they always, you know, actually it's quite clever, I think, but you know, what do you do? But they're always saying, like, he mentions Hannibal Lecter. It doesn't make sense. So it makes a lot of sense. They're coming into our country. And they're coming in from insane asylums, which are closing all over the world. It's not just South America, because we have the worst people representing our country. They laugh at the stupidity of these people all over the world. They're coming from the Congo in Africa, 22 prisoners right out of prisons from the Congo in Africa, not just South America. Meanwhile, our crime rate is going up. How about where they say our crime rate's going down? We just had 117 people shot. You could take just Chicago and the whole nation's crime rate. Look, these are bad people. They're phony people. They're liars. They cheat on elections. They do a lot of bad things. And we have to win this election, because crime statistics are a disaster. They're made up by people that work in the White House. And obviously the crime is getting worse, because we have probably 20 million people in our country right now. And every single day you read about one of these horrible monsters from parts unknown who raped a young girl, killed her, cut him up, uses knives, not guns, because it's a slower death. These are monsters, and we have them in our country, and we're going to deport them at a level like nobody's ever seen. We're going to get them the hell out of our country. They're going back to the country from which they came. Because we have become a dumping ground for the world, and we're not going to take it anymore. We're going to get rid of these liberal lunatics like Kamala. Just yesterday, it was reported that more than 1,000 members of the savage Venezuelan gang, Trendy Arguay, are plotting to conduct ambush attacks on police and law enforcement in the United States. All the while, Harris and Biden sit in the White House and try and figure out who's dumber. They sit in the White House. Think of it. Massive, massive numbers of Venezuelan gang members. Now, Venezuela is very smart. They sent them into our country. And then you read that crime is down 72% in Venezuela, which it is. On Sunday, in a separate incident, a Venezuelan illegal alien criminal let in the border by our border czar, Harris, shot a female police officer in Texas. You read about it. Multiple times with a rifle. Thankfully, the officer is perhaps going to survive. They don't know yet, but probably. But most victims are not so lucky. In Texas last month, 12-year-old Jocelyn Nungari was tied up, sexually assaulted, and strangled to death by 2 illegal aliens who Biden and Harris released into the United States. If Baltazar Harris stays in charge, every single week will bring never-ending streams of illegal alien rapists, bloodthirsty killers, and child predators to go after our sons and our daughters and our wives and our husbands. They're letting horrible people into our country. They're poisoning our country. By contrast, if I am elected on day 1, we will begin the largest deportation operation in American history. And we will immediately deport all of the criminals that Baltazar Harris has allowed to enter our country. They'll be deported. But no comparison of our immigration records would be complete without considering the terrorists that this crazy Baltazar of ours is letting into America. By the way, can anybody imagine her as, in all fairness, we want to be politically correct and all that, great, who cares? Can anybody imagine her dealing with President Xi of China, who's a fierce individual, fierce person? You know, she was sent to deal with Putin to keep him from invading Ukraine, which, by the way, he would have never done if I were president. Israel wouldn't have been attacked. He would not have attacked Ukraine. The recent hits on Israel wouldn't have taken place. We wouldn't have had inflation. You wouldn't have had that horrible disaster in Afghanistan. None of these things would have happened, would be respected again. Now we're laughed at. All over the world, they're laughing at us. When I was president, terror watch list encounters at the border reached 1 year, and I don't believe it. It was done by Border Patrol and ICE. They have 1 year where it was 0. They said, and I don't even believe that myself, but you know what? I'll take it. Because the charts are usually the other way. 0. And then after, and it was part of that we just looked at, but we had 0 terrorists reported coming in 2019, I believe the year was 2019. 0. So let's say it was 10 or 20. Now it's thousands of people coming in. I never believed the 0, but I'll tell you, we'll take it. But assuming it was 10, 15, 20, thousands and thousands of terrorists are pouring into our country. Under Kamala Harris, thousands of terrorists have been let right in. And according to news reports, the Biden-Harris administration has absolutely no idea who they are or where the hell they come from. Just come on into our country. But you're going to be finding this out. You're going to have to be, you're going to have a migrant crime statistic that's going to rival anything that we've ever had. And the only thing good about these people, they're very tough people. They come out of those jails and those prisons and those mental institutions. The only thing that is really good about them is they make our criminals look like very nice people. It's true. Our criminals that we used to fear, we don't fear anymore, doctor. They're like nice people compared to the people that are coming into our country. No candidate who would knowingly keep the border open as terrorists pour across it can ever be trusted to be commander-in-chief. You can't do it. Can't let it happen. If she becomes your president, and I think worse than Biden, and he's gone, he's shot. But if she becomes your president, our country is finished, I'll tell you. In Pennsylvania, your beautiful Commonwealth, it's always good when you remember it's a Commonwealth. He would call it a state often. Remember when Biden I used to love this guy because you were on pins and needles watching him speak. You know, when's he going to blow it? And it would always happen. Remember, he'd finished the speech and he couldn't find the stair. Go. And then these handsome men would run up and grab him and help him. And every time I imitate it, the first lady tells me, why do you keep doing that? Because they keep saying you can't find the stairs off the podium. You know, you've only got about 9 stairways off the podium. But unlike Kamala Harris, I will keep radical Islamic terrorists the hell out of our country. We're going to keep them out. We're going to be safe. We're going to have a safe place.
Fact is, 4 years ago, we were respected like never before. I would say like never before. We were respected by China, by Iran. Look at Iran. Iran is going wild now, aren't they? You know, Iran was broke when I was president. They didn't have money to give to Hamas. They didn't have money to give to Hezbollah. You see what's going on now with Hezbollah now. You're going to end up in a world war. You're going to end up in a third world war pretty soon with this guy between Ukraine and Russia and the stupidity with what I will get that negotiated and ended before I ever take office. I'll do it after the election as president-elect. In addition to her atrocious record on border security, Kamala Harris would also obliterate Pennsylvania's economy. You know about that. She's against fracking. She's against oil drilling. She wants everybody to have one electric car and share it with the neighbors. Harris has stated repeatedly that she supports, quote, banning fracking. I ban fracking. I will ban it on my first day. Now she's denying it. Remember, a politician always goes back to what their original thought was, right? And she co-sponsored the $100 trillion Green New scam designed to abolish the oil, coal, and natural gas industries entirely. We have more liquid gold under our feet than Saudi Arabia, than Russia by far. And under me, we took it from 4th place and 3rd place. We took it to 1st place by a lot. We were energy independent, soon to be energy dominant. We were going to make so much money. We were going to pay off debt and reduce your taxes still further. Now, you can't do anything with these lunatics. Under a Harris presidency, 423,000 Pennsylvania jobs are linked to fracking. They'd all be demolished. She's against fracking. She's not going to allow you to frack. She's not going to allow you to frack. And the only reason they're allowing it now, you know, they cut it way back. That's what caused the inflation. And then he opened it up again back to the Trump days. He opened it up to the same because it's similar, because he wanted to try and get reelected. They didn't know his party was going to overthrow him. It was a coup. This was a coup of a president. He will be famous. He will be more famous for the coup than the bad job he's done, okay? But this was a coup of the president of the United States. This was like a South American, you know, you read about South America, every week they have a coup. And they also do the attacks on political opponents, by the way. Your economy would take a $41 billion hit. This is Pennsylvania. Cutting billions of dollars from your state and local budgets, slashing funding for your schools and police forces, and plunging Pennsylvania into severe economic depression. Enjoy it. Look, if they get in, your state is screwed. Your state is, you guys are screwed. Good luck, everybody. Have fun in Congress, Mike. But I will never let that happen. But you don't need to take my word for it alone. Kamala's anti-American energy crusade. Let's just listen to her. Now, she's a totally, oh, no, I love fracking. Let's just see what her video says. She had it taped just a little while ago. Let's go.
Will you commit to implementing a federal ban on fracking your first day in office, adding the United States to the list of countries who have banned this devastating practice?
There's no question I'm in favor of banning fracking.
Okay? If I said that, nobody would believe it. So, and that's where she is. She's a radical left person who destroyed San Francisco, and she'll destroy the country just like she did California and San Francisco. She was the leader of that pack that destroyed San Francisco. It's not only Gavin Newsom. Gavin Newsom, he's another beauty. Oh, we're doing great in the state. Everyone's leaving. We're doing great. The state's doing wonderfully. They do have wonderful weather, and it's a beautiful place, but it's overridden with crime. He's doing such a terrible job. He's a con man. You know, I watched him on the great Sean Hannity show, and he was saying like, no, the state's never done better, never done. It's all a fake. It's all lies. The state is a disaster. They're moving to Texas, Florida, Tennessee. They're moving to a lot of North Carolina, South Carolina. When we win this November, we will end the Biden-Harris war on American energy, and we will end their terrible war on fracking. Fracking is incredible. The money you make in Pennsylvania, you could quadruple your taxes. If you lost that industry, you could quadruple your taxes. The policy of the Trump administration will be to drill
baby, drill. Right? Right? I will also terminate the Biden-Harris electric vehicle mandate on day one and save the U.S. auto industry from destruction. We are going to rebuild our auto industry, and the United Auto Workers are mostly going to vote for me, but, you know, they have a head of the United Auto Workers who's a fool. He's giving our auto industry to China by allowing this electric mandate to even be thought of. And again, I'm all for electric cars. There's a certain little section that wants to have electric. I can understand that, but it's a small section. They want to have gasoline-powered cars. They want to have hybrids, and they're going to have that. They don't want to stop every 15 minutes. They refuse to stop. You know, I have a friend of mine got an electric car, and he was used to driving from Kentucky, great state, to Washington, and he'd drive, and, you know, he'd drive it. That'll be it. Now he's driving it. He had to stop 6 times. He said, what the hell is going on? He thought it was good for the environment. It's not good for, you know, he's a idealistic kind of guy. I think I'm going to do something good for the environment. He got rid of that thing so fast, your head would spin. And it's great if you want to go to the candy store and back. Then you plug it in your garage. It's no wonder the Democrat Party and their thugs are so desperate to stop us. They know that we are the only ones who can stop them. The only ones. You know, this is a movement, Make America Great Again. This is a movement the likes of which no country but our country has never seen before. MAGA. MAGA! No country's ever seen anything like it. Remember when Biden would get up, we will stop MAGA. He had no idea. I said, Joe, do you know what it means? No, not really. No, it means make America great again. We don't want to stop it. All of their persecution is only happening because I am running for president and leading big in the polls. Oh, if I wasn't, I wouldn't have any of these lawsuits. Oh, they wouldn't be suing me because I'm breaking their ass also. They wouldn't be suing me. They're doing this because I'm running and I'm leading by a lot. We're leading by a lot in this state, by the way, in this Commonwealth. We're leading by a lot in our Commonwealth. The radical left Democrats rigged the presidential election in 2020, and we're not going to allow them to rig the presidential election of 2024. We're not going to allow it to happen. And every time the radical left Democrats, Marxists, communists, and fascists indict me, I consider it a great badge of honor. Thank you very much. Because I'm being indicted for you. Did you like my mugshot? Did you like the mugshot? Lovely. My father's looking down, my mother and father, they're looking down because they're definitely in heaven. They made heaven. They're great. They're looking down. They said, I can't believe my son took a mugshot. This is unbelievable. But it's the #1 selling mugshot in history. It beat Elvis and it beat Frank Sinatra. Did you know that? Frank Sinatra had a big one. Did you know he got arrested for something? And I think Elvis had a fight at a gas station or something. But Elvis was 1, Frank Sinatra was 2, and I'm proud to admit, and I'm proud to tell you that you have made mine bigger than both of them by a lot. It's the biggest selling mugshot ever. And I still haven't figured out whether or not I'm happy about it. I'm not sure. In one way, I'm thrilled. In another way, I'm not sure I like it. Never forget, our enemies want to take away my freedom because I will never let them take away your freedom, which is true. They want to silence me because I will never let them silence you. And in the end, they are not after me, they're after you. I just happen to be standing in their way, and I will continue to stand in their way. I will always be here. I'll be here. I don't know. I'm getting tired of protecting you, but I love it. We're going to protect you. We're going to go. And soon you won't need protection because soon you're going to have a great country again. It's true. You won't need protection. The country will protect you. But think of it. I say this to, I got indicted more than Al Capone, the great Al Capone. Can you imagine? Al Capone, Scarface, the meanest man you've ever met. I have him beat. But we're pleased to be joined today by some fantastic Pennsylvania patriots, friends of mine, incredible people, starting with the next U.S. Senator from the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, David McCormick. He's incredible. Come up. David, come up here. Come. He's a military hero. And honestly, you know, your senator, I don't think I ever met him in 4 years. Nobody knows who he is. It's the weirdest thing. It's almost like, how do they keep getting elected? You got to elect this guy. He's a war hero. He's a national hero. He's a brilliant man. He went out, he made a fortune and all that stuff. That's a good thing, not a bad thing. It means he's smart, right? Do we agree? It means he's smart. You guys didn't make that much, but you're very smart anyway. But David has been a friend of mine. He's an incredible man and respected all over the place. And you know, you have one chance to get a guy like this in. A lot of people, after watching my experience, they're not doing this anymore, are they? So I'd like to introduce Dave McCormick, a great guy. Hopefully he's going to be your next senator. You're going to win, and you're going to win big, David.
Thank you. Thank you, President Trump. Thank you so much, all of you. And listen, in Pennsylvania, we know, Mr. President, this is the most important election of our lifetime. We know it. And we also know that this is ground zero, which is going to put you back in the White House and a majority in the Senate. Right here, sir. Right here in Pennsylvania. And I want to welcome you back to Pennsylvania after Butler. We're so glad you're here, sir. Thank you. Thank you for being here. And I want to say what you all know, which is this is an incredibly important choice because we can continue to have the failed, horrible policies of Biden, Harris, and Casey. And I say Casey because he votes 98% of the time, that destroys our economy, open borders, the fentanyl crisis, crime, the war on fossil fuels. But it only gets worse. It only gets worse under Harris, Casey. It only gets worse. And that is why we need strong leadership, common sense leadership. And when I go on the campaign trail, Mr. President, the thing I hear that people want most is straight. And I tell them, listen, I'm a combat veteran. I'm an Army wrestler. And when I was standing there in Butler and saw those bullets flying, and I've seen people get shot at before, and you came up and put that fist in the air and said, fight, fight, fight. I said to everybody, that's strength. That's what we need for America. That's why we're going to win on November 5th. God bless this Commonwealth.
Wow. That's great. You know, David, it is true. David was in Butler, and he was sitting exactly there. And you know, Corey was sitting right behind him. Can you imagine? Corey was killed. He was sitting right behind David. And David didn't flinch. He didn't move. I mean, some people moved. Actually, I think it was really known that when bullets are fired in a stadium, everyone really gets moving fast. They call it a stampede. Nobody moved. You looked at the people behind me, right? Everyone's seen those people. Those people have become legendary. That was just a small group. The main tens of thousands of people around here, you couldn't even see the end. Nobody ran. Nobody moved. They knew I was in trouble. They said, he's in trouble. If you went to a soccer stadium where you'll have a bullet go off, one bullet, the whole place runs for the exits. Nobody ran. And how about the man behind me with the black outfit and the green floppy hat? He's like this. David, did you see him? He's looking, right? Where? Get up here. Is that him? Yeah, that's... Wow. That's great, huh? Well, you're good. You can be in a foxhole with me anytime, man. Wow. Thank you. That's great. That was a hell of a day, huh? But there were a number of them back there that were just brave. Everybody. There was nobody that fled. I think nobody fled, right? They were brave people, and they were looking, and they were pointing. They saw it. They were pointing. It was incredible. And one of these crowd control people that came in afterwards said, they've never seen it where bullets are fired. And I'll tell you something, David was standing and sitting right, literally, the bullets were going over your head. They were going over my head, too, the second group. But you weren't a flincher either, were you, Duke? You weren't. And Corey, right alongside of you, right behind him. And you got to vote for this man. He's a hero, and he's a great gentleman. He'll be a great senator. And it's time for a change. Time for a change. I mean that. A vote for Dave McCormick as they vote to seal our border, stop migrant crime, defeat inflation, bring down prices, and defend Pennsylvania energy. You have to defend your energy. They will not allow fracking. As soon as, if they got in, her first move will be to end fracking all throughout the United States. Dave is running against truly not a good member. I don't like to be disrespectful. He's been there a long time, but Bob Casey is a stiff. He's a stiff. Nobody knows who the hell he is. I don't think I've ever gone to a meeting where he's been in the meeting, Mike. Mike has been in the meeting. Dan has been in the meeting. Scott is at too many meetings, right? No, I don't think I've ever been to a meeting where Casey's even been there. And I've been to a lot of meetings with a lot of senators, but you know, he just sort of goes along year after year. His father was there, he's there. We want to have a great warrior. Dave, good luck. Good luck. Thank you, Dave. Vote for him. We're pleased to be joined today by some really fantastic people, some, I would say, truly great warriors. And if you could, maybe Congress people, just stand up, right? Just stand up. Scott Perry, Mike Kelly, G.T. Thompson, G.T., hi, Dan Muser, Lloyd Smucker. These are unbelievable warriors. These are great fighters. And if you can add David, it's going to be an unbeatable combination. Pennsylvania Treasurer, thank you very much, fellas. You've done a great job. You've done a great job. Pennsylvania Treasurer Stacey Garrity. Lancaster County Commissioner Josh Parsons. Great job, Josh. Jim Worthington, he's a fantastic man. Thank you. Thank you, Jim. Nice to see you. And two people that are amazing, very talented, very incredible people. One is a spokesman for the lawyer, by the way, but a great spokesman, truly committed to make America great, and me, but truly committed to make America great, which is more important than me, more important. I mean, it's just something special. She has been an incredible person going around and letting people know how important our country is, how we love our country. Alina Habba. Alina, stand up, Alina. I didn't know she was going to be here today. And another person, one of the most talented writers, a person who truly has the pulse of this area, Pennsylvania, and the Rust Belt in general. The Rust Belt is her territory. Nobody covers it better. Selena Zito. Selena, where are you, Selena? Where are you? Thank you. She's a great writer. We're also joined by Tiffany Hall, a single mother of four from Columbia, Pennsylvania, who wants to tell us firsthand what the Biden-Harris inflation nightmare has done to her family. It's destroyed her family. Tiffany, please come up, please. Thank you. Thank you, Tiffany. This is happening all over America because of inflation, by the way. Thanks, Tiffany. Thank you, darling. Go have fun. Oh, that's okay. Go, here you go.
Thank you very much. So, gas prices are just astronomical. being able to afford anything for my children anymore, like sports, is just kind of out of the question now. When President Trump was in, I could do these things with them. Since then, I've not been able to. I can't put them into sports. I can't go on extravagant vacations anymore. We can go to free parks around here. I miss it. I miss when we didn't have to pull out of our pockets for things. I'm hoping we can get back to a point where I'm financially stable. And others, I know I can't be the only one. We're all going to the gas pump and being like, man, here goes the last of what I have. I know. I would like to be able to go into a grocery store again and not have to put something back or say, nope, we can't do a nice cake from the bakery. We have to try and do one from home. So I really hope and pray that we can make America great again and get you back in office. Thank you.
Wow, thank you, Tiffany. So cute. You know, she said, oh, I can't believe it. I left my notes down on her seat. I said, just go and wing it. And she did better. You did better than if you had your notes, Tiffany. I have to be honest. That's great. You did better. Thank you. Appreciate it. Things like that happen. I said, well, give it a shot. She did better. Starting on day one of the Trump administration, we will end inflation and we will make America great again. We will deliver regulation cuts, energy price cuts, interest rate cuts, and we will drive prices down, and we'll drive them down very fast. We will pass massive tax cuts for workers, and that includes no tax on tips. To protect Pennsylvania jobs, I will revoke China's most favored nation trade status. I will pass the Trump Reciprocal Trade Act. If China or any other country makes us pay a 100 or 200% tariff or tax, we will make them pay a reciprocal tariff or tax of 100 or 200% right back. You heard us and we heard you. It's an eye for an eye. Before I even arrive at the Oval Office shortly after we win the presidency, and it's we win the presidency, I mean that, I will have the horrible war between Russia and Ukraine settled. And I am the only one that can say it. I know all the players and they respect us, they respect me, and they used to respect our country, but no longer. I will prevent World War III. That's where we're heading. We're heading to World War III, and you see it. I will restore peace through strength. Over and over again, our enemies have watched Biden and Harris signal a lack of will, total weakness to do what's necessary to protect American people and stand up for our allies. A week ago, the prime minister of our closest Middle Eastern ally, Israel, came to address Congress. You saw that. Instead of sending a clear signal that the United States will never abandon an ally, a very important one, Kamala chose to politicize the moment, to grandstand, making a show of refusing to attend. You know where she was? She went to a sorority party. Can you believe it? Even though it was her duty as president of the Senate to be there, it was her duty to be there. Her Democrat allies fell in line. Chuck Schumer refused to shake the Israeli prime minister's hand. Chuck Schumer has become a Palestinian. Yes, can you believe it? He's become a proud member of Hamas. Nancy Pelosi likewise denounced the speech in shameful terms. You know, 15 years ago, Israel had the strongest, most powerful lobby in this country. Now it's almost the opposite, with AOC +3 and all the people, the enemies of our country in a true sense. But they are, and the enemies, when they saw these people abandon Israel, they took note. And I don't think it's accidental that just 4 days after Harris and Biden repudiated our Israeli allies, Iran's top terrorist group, Hezbollah, fired an Iranian missile to kill 12 innocent children at a soccer field in northern Israel. Happened right after he left. With great embarrassment, he left. The terrorists did it because they assumed they could get away with it because the United States is weak and ineffective and no longer respected. We are no longer respected. We are a failing nation. I mean, it's horrible. You don't want to say it. I wish I didn't have to say it. I wish I could say they're doing a phenomenal job. I wouldn't run. I wouldn't run. I wouldn't have to run. I would be very happy to have somebody do a phenomenal job. I wouldn't have to run, and I'd be very happy with that. I'd be proud of our country. But right now, our country is a joke. It's being laughed at all over the world. The truth is, Harris and Biden's weakness is inviting every rogue enemy worldwide to absolutely get away with murder. In my next term, we will build a great Iron Dome missile defense shield over our country, a dome like has never been seen before, and it will be entirely made in the USA and right here in Pennsylvania, big sections of it. And I will cut, remember this, I will cut all of the bad talk about Social Security. They're going to destroy your Social Security, but I will not cut 1 cent from Social Security or Medicare. And I kept my promise for 4 years that I will keep it again. And seniors should not pay taxes on Social Security. And they won't. They won't. There are the people. It's up to you. No tax on Social Security. By contrast, Kamala cast a tie-breaking vote to cut Medicare. You saw this? By $237 billion in a heartless betrayal of American seniors. We're going to rebuild our cities into beacons of hope, safety, and beauty better than they have ever been before. We will take over the horribly run capital of our nation in Washington, D.C., clean it up, renovate it, fix it, rebuild it. We will again have the most beautiful capital anywhere in the world, and there will be no crime allowed. Very strong. Right now, you go there, you get mugged, you get shot. On day one, I will sign a new executive order to cut federal funding for any school pushing critical race theory, transgender insanity, and other inappropriate racial, sexual, or political content onto the lives of our children. And I will not give 1 penny to any school that has a vaccine mandate or a mask mandate. And I will keep men out of women's sports. How simple is that? I will fully uphold our Second Amendment, as I did for 4 years. We just got the backing of the NRA, complete and total endorsement from the NRA. We will protect innocent life, and we will restore free speech to our country again. And very importantly, I will secure our elections. Our goal will be one-day voting with paper ballots, proof of citizenship, voter ID. We're going to do it. We're going to do it. A lot of other countries are doing it. The mail-in voting isn't working. It's corrupt. But until then, Republicans must win. We want to have a landslide because the best way to protect against the rigging, and these people know it, is too big to rig. There's a level at which they can't cheat. So if you want to save America, get your friends, get your family, get everyone you know, and vote. Vote early, vote absentee, vote on election day. I don't care when you vote, but whatever you do, you have to vote and make sure your ballot counts. Because these people cheat. They cheat like dogs. And if you want to help us ensure election integrity, sign up at protectthevote.com. Protectthevote.com. And in conclusion, from Easton to Hershey, from Jamestown to Allentown, and from Pittsburgh to right here in beautiful Harrisburg. Love Harrisburg. We got a lot of votes in Harrisburg. We stand on the shoulders of American legends who poured out their blood, sweat, and tears for our rights and for our freedom. Pennsylvania is where our founding fathers declared America independence. Think of that. Think of the history that this great places, beautiful Pennsylvania. Think of the history that you have. It's where the Army weathered its brutal winter at Valley Forge, where General George Washington would never taken his name off any buildings they'd like to. When they want to take Washington, Lincoln, and Jefferson off, it ain't gonna happen. But it will happen under her. George Washington led his men on a daring mission across the Delaware, and where the Union was saved by the immortal heroes at Gettysburg. Gettysburg, wow. Gettysburg. And this is the state where generations of tough, strong Pennsylvania miners and steelworkers forged the greatest nation in the history of the world. But now we are a nation in serious decline. We are a failing nation. We are a nation that has lost its confidence, lost its willpower, and lost its strength. We are a nation that has lost, quite simply, its way. But we are not going to allow this horror to continue. Less than 4 years ago, we were a great nation, and we will soon be a great nation again. Soon be. With our leadership, every disaster Joe Biden and Kamala Harris have created can be fixed and be quick, very quickly. We're going to do it so quickly. Remember, I used to tell the story, we're going to win, 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 right? We're going to win so much, you're going to get tired of winning. We're going to win. We're going to start winning. Please, please, Mr. President, we're winning too much. We can't take it anymore. We're going to win, win, win. Every problem can be solved and every wrong can be rectified. By this time next year, America's borders will be strong, sealed, and secure. Inflation will be a full thing of the past. It will be in full retreat. Our economy will be roaring back. Optimism will be surging. The American dream will be thriving again for citizens of every race, religion, color, and creed. Law and justice will reign all throughout our land. Freedom will be restored. The flame of liberty will be burning bright. Joe Biden and Kamala Harris, the worst administration in the history of our country, will be a fading memory of the past, and our great silent majority, including the once forgotten men and women of our country, will be the one shaping America's magnificent future when I am the 47th President of the United States. Because we are all Americans, and together we will show November 5th to be the most important day in the history of our country. We are one movement, one people, one family, and one glorious nation under God. And together we will make America powerful again. Make America wealthy again. Make America strong again. Make America proud again. Make America safe again. Make America free again. And we will make America great again. Thank you, Pennsylvania. God bless you.
There we go right there, man. Another great speech from President Trump. Another great speech. Salute to everybody that showed up, man. This right here was amazing. This was amazing. I think he got another rally coming up soon, so y'all be ready for that. And like I said, thank you all for coming out, man. Appreciate everybody who super chatted, who sent the PayPal donations. I really, really appreciate it. Thank y'all very much for that. Make sure y'all please hit that like button. Subscribe to the channel. Salute to my mods. Salute to the chat. Salute to everybody who showed up, showed support, stuck around with me. I really, really appreciate that. Thank y'all very much. Man, that right there was amazing. Salute to your LA Rams for the $15. Make America Great Again, Trump 2024. Let's go, LA Rams. Salute to you, man, for that donation. Thank you very much. You're always showing support. I really, really appreciate it. Wow. But like I said, thank you all for coming out. We're going to go ahead and get up out of here. Make sure y'all go check out my latest video. And I'm finna go ahead and post another video in about 15 minutes. So y'all get ready for that. So salute to everybody. We're gonna go ahead and get up out of here. Let me go ahead and exit this right here out. All right, there we go right there. But yes, we about to get ready and get up out of here. Make sure y'all please hit that like button for me. Subscribe to the channel. Like I said, make sure you go check out my latest video that I posted. I'm finna go ahead and post another video in about 10 to 15 minutes. So y'all please watch it. Very, very important. Got new footage on the Donald Trump shooting and stuff like that. I told y'all, we're going to get to the bottom of what happened. We're going to get to the bottom of it. So make sure y'all get ready and watch that. Like I said, please hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and I'll catch y'all in the next one.